Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my hope and prayer that this video is going to find you guys in good health. I am fine, and the weather in Kisumu is also fantastic. I don't know where you are watching it from. Maybe you could let me know the country and the country you are watching it from. Ladies and gentlemen, Martha Karua, who was named Raila Odinga's running mate for the upcoming general election, just concluded a 5-day tour of the larger Mount Kenya region. I followed that tour very closely, and if you ask me, it has changed the narrative. It has changed the story for the Azimio la Umoja team in the larger Mount Kenya region. And if you followed it very closely, the Azimio team had a clear strategy on how they were going to approach the mountain, the kind of messaging, and the way they were going to react to the voters down there. In this video, I want to explain to you guys how the entry of Martha Karua actually changed the game, especially that tour, for Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta in the larger Mount Kenya region. Before we do that, in case you are watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue to thank you guys for your continued support. Now, if you followed the Martha Karua's event in the larger Mount Kenya region, in my view, it was hugely successful. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether the team will be able to sustain the momentum until August. Yesterday, Martha Karua indicated that they'll try and sustain the tempo until August. And because of that foray, you saw William Ruto and his brigades reacting. And at least for the first time now, even the crowd, people are now sharing that, which group attracted the biggest crowd for the first time. At least for the first time, William Ruto and his brigades were actually put on defense. They were defending the fact that Martha Karua is a woman, They were defending the fact that Raila Odinga is the same. So at least something changed. But how did they manage to change the narrative? How did they manage to get the voters of the larger Mount Kenya region to listen to them? For me, the first thing these guys did, which was their first strategy, immediately Martha Karua was nominated, the first thing they did was to provide leadership. So there's something which had been lacking in the larger Mount Kenya region, leadership. And one man, many people consider him mad, but for me, I don't think he's mad. Moses Kuria has always maintained that Uhuru never allowed other leaders to emerge from the mountain. So there has been that lack of leadership. So the moment Martha Karua was named Raila Odinga's running mate, that's the moment the Azimio la Umoja team from the mountain found a leader. And everybody from the mountain lined up behind Martha Karua, led by Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, Peter Kenneth, and the rest. In fact, the only team I didn't see there is Kiraitu Murungi. Because initially, people didn't know, the Azimio team from the larger Mount Kenya region, they didn't know whether to line up behind Peter Kenneth, whether because the Muranga team was pushing for Peter Kenneth, they didn't know. They didn't know whether to line up behind Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya. They didn't know. In fact, Martha Karua just came at last minute. So the moment Martha Karua was nominated, and from the momentum from KICC, Martha Karua provided the leadership. Everybody followed Martha Karua. So finally, the people of the larger Mount Kenya region, especially those in Azimio, had a leader. Once they did that, they went to the second phase, which was number 2, test the ground. How was the ground going to receive them? So they hurriedly, after Martha Karua was unveiled, they rested one day. Then the next day, it was Martha Karua's homecoming. They went to Kirinyaga just to test the ground. Were they going to be accepted? Were they going to be rejected? How was the ground going to receive them? So that was the next stage. And indeed, when they went to the ground received them well. Remember previously, just a week earlier, Martha Karua had actually gone to Kirinyaga. She couldn't even address the ground there. Everybody she was chased away. Now, once she was nominated and she went there, although there were attempts to frustrate the event through heckling and the rest, Martha Karua and the team were received well, better than before. Of course, you know, William Ruto and UDA are the dominant party. So you not expect Martha Karua to receive the kind of reception William Ruto would get. So at least for them, for the first time, the ground was receptive. So once the ground accepted them in Kirinyaga, in which that was the first time I think they campaigned until 8 in the night. We could see photos and images from Kirinyaga, and people were like, huh? Kwani Martha hajui jokes? Watu walikuwa natafuta tu 30% na yeye anatafuta 90%. You see, that's when that joke started. So once the ground accepted them, then I think now their third strategy was the approach, persuasive approach. You know, William Ruto had actually entrenched himself so much in the mountain. And the other fact is that the voters in the mountain were very bitter with President Uhuru Kenyatta. They never embraced the handshake in the first place. But how are they going to make sure that the reception they received, the leadership Martha Karua had provided, was going to be sustained? How are they going to ensure that they attract more people to the team? Now, they decided to win more hearts through a persuasive approach. People would heckle them, but they will just persuade them. So even the hecklers then started thinking otherwise, that the people we are heckling are not bothered about our heckling. They were just like persuading them to vote for them, to join them, to listen to them. And once they started listening to them, that's when now the narrative started changing. And of course, with the proper use of social media, with the help of the province, with the help of the county administrative structure of the government, they were able now. So at least Martha Karua would take a microphone, challenge the UDA people who are paying the youth to heckle them, to come and grab microphone from her. She would ask the voters there, the youth, not to be misused. She would explain to them how Raila Odinga plans to change their narrative and their lives. So people started listening to them. So that was now their third approach. Once people started listening to them, then they went for the fourth strategy, which was to create a clear parallel between the teams. Clear parallel between the teams. That our team stands for this team stands for this. Our ticket of Raila Odinga and Martha Karua is reformist. The team of William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, KANU. And they used the local media stations to actually create a parallel between these two teams. And there was a time even Rigathi Gachagua himself was on TV. I think it was on Inoro. And someone asked him a simple question to explain to Kenyans whether, I think it was in 1992, he was a DO in Limuru, to which he affirmed that indeed I was a DO in Limuru. And then the guy went further and challenged him why he organized for people like Matiba. I think there was a specific rally in Limuru, which is historic and is still in the memory of the voters there, where the police went and kicked people, maimed, many people were injured. Rigathi Gachagua accepted. And Rigathi Gachagua, in his acceptance, claimed that that was the 90s, before multipartyism. And now that multipartyism is there, such kind of things can never happen again. So they managed to create that parallel. And once they created that parallel, that this team stands for reforms, this team stands for KANU, people started now buying the idea that, okay, Martha Karua, in fact, if you followed Martha Karua's campaign, the moment people started claiming that Martha Karua and Raila Odinga were better ticket because of their reform credential, was almost the third day. of their campaigns in the larger Mount Kenya region. So these guys had a very clear strategy. So once they created those parallels, they went for the fifth approach. In the fifth approach, how were they going to deal with Jubilee baggage, and how are they going to deal with Uhuru baggage? Because that was the UDA card in the mountain that Jubilee government had failed. That Uhuru was actually a baggage. So if you followed the politics at that time, that was now when there was the news, a sponsored story on the Standard, I think, that Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to campaign for Raila Odinga. So once that happened, now they were relieved that Uhuru is not going. And then, of course, Martha Karua is NAK Kenya, Uhuru Jubilee, then Raila ODM. But we had a pair of ODM and NAK Kenya who are not part of Jubilee. So they were able to create that narrative that, they were able to dissociate themselves successfully from Jubilee failures. And then also from Uhuru, because Uhuru was now not going to be a shadow somewhere, a shadow lacking over the head of Martha Karua. Martha Karua now took the leadership as NAK Kenya leader and as Azimio presidential candidate. Raila Odinga came on board. So William Ruto and his brigade could not attack Raila Odinga. They could not attack Martha Karua for Jubilee failures, because everybody would ask them that, okay, you are saying this, why did you attend the last cabinet meeting? Why was Raila Odinga not in that meeting? So they were able to deal with that Jubilee baggage. And then they went for now the sixth strategy. Sixth strategy now was now we now have the ground. We have persuaded the people. We have created the parallel. Now we don't have the Jubilee baggage. What next? UDA party had now to be put on their defense. So they were able to put UDA and William Ruto to their defense. That's when you started now hearing William Ruto and his team complaining that, okay, Martha Karua is just a woman. People like Rigathi Gachagua making those comments that, oh, kama tuleshinda huyu sasa yule mama, those kind of statements that, okay, if we could not vote for Raila Odinga the entire time, what makes you think that we can vote for him now? So at least now, for the first time, they were put to their defense. They were put to their defense. Now they were defending themselves. And that is how they were able to change the narrative, which takes us to the last strategy, sustaining the momentum after the 4 or after the 5-day campaign. The question is, will this team able to sustain the momentum? Because the truth is, so many people have changed, especially the undecided. Even if they're 10%, even if they're 5%, at least they've changed. The other fact is that Martha Karua and the team now are being accepted in the larger Mount Kenya region as an alternative leadership for the region. But the question is, can they sustain that momentum? Can they sustain? Because they've climbed the mountain for 5 good days. Can they sustain that momentum? And what are they going to do to sustain that momentum? That is the next phase of their campaign. And Martha Karua alluded to it yesterday. I don't know how they're going to do it, because the fact is William Ruto and his brigade are also camping in the region after they left, specifically to undo whatever gains they might have done. The only disadvantage William Ruto and his brigade are facing is that they've been in the region for close to 7 years campaigning. So, which means there's nothing new they are telling the people. For Karua and her team, at least there's something new they're telling the people. Whether people are listening to them or not, there is something new. But for Ruto and the brigades, they've been there, said everything. Like right now, William Ruto cannot attack Raila Odinga. Even if he were to attack Raila Odinga, there's nothing new he can use to attack Raila Odinga. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day. Bye bye.